when V was born, well, even before she was born, there was something weird. First, they told us that she was a girl, and we were all excited and named her Victoria. And then a few months later, we were told that she was a boy, and so we renamed her Victor. And then when V was born, because of some other issues with another child, I wanted genetic tests run, but she had what's called a microphallus, which means that her penis is pretty much non-existent. It's like really teeny and no gonads. And instead of having a scrotum sac, it's called a fused labia. So basically the labia didn't part, they fused together, but they didn't turn into anything. So it's kind of a little different looking. So I kind of knew something was going on, but the doctors just kind of blew it off. It happens a lot. I don't think many people like to talk about intersex or deal with it. About 3 days after she was born, we were given the news about her genetic results, and she also had XXY. So XXY is when you have both the genetic makeup to be a female and a male. Most people with it, that's a pretty big spectrum, really. I mean, you can be very, very masculine, or it can be all the way to the other spectrum where you can be a female who can give birth. So it's not one thing or the other. Most people, I think, probably fall somewhere in between. But it's like symptoms are basically being born or when you hit puberty, really. You get more feminine bones because of the lack of hormones, because generally the gonads don't work properly. There's a few cases where they do, but most don't. That means that you're more prone to getting osteoporosis and brittle bones. You also have a high chance of growing breasts. Generally, the bone structure is more feminine, like growing wider hips, smaller shoulders, that kind of stuff. It also causes people to get taller. So it's almost a form of giganticism. So rather than getting they can get pretty tall, but it's not like Andre the Giant, but you're going to get taller than most of your family members and be notably big. It can also have some weight gain issues and things like that. There's some learning development problems, speech problems, understanding social issues, almost autism-like things. Not everybody has those. Generally, the male type have it, and when you hit puberty and you're male, they call that Klinefelter syndrome. So that's they get mixed up a lot in the medical community and in the community in general. But Klinefelter's is basically having the learning disabilities and having the autism-like and social issues. So that's kind of the overview of what it is. For us, we've decided that V has the right to choose what she wants to be, and at this point, that's a girl. We just kind of have basically decided not to put any type of constraints on her and let her develop on her own, because we want her to grow up knowing that she's just a normal person. She's not weird, she's not strange, she's just who she is. It's different, we're all different. So that's how we treat it. We have refused to do any surgeries until she's old enough to make the decisions on whether or not she wants those, meaning she needs to be at least 16. Now you can have hormones blocked, so that would stop any breast development because they will have estrogen. They just won't have testosterone. So at a younger age, you can block the puberty from starting so their body doesn't develop one way or the other. And then if they decide one way or the other, then you can supplement more with the hormones that go with the gender that they feel they are. And that will help their body develop a little more closely with that gender. I think the biggest thing that I've learned with all of my kids' conditions is that you have to listen to your gut and you have to listen to your child. And you have to make decisions based on those things because doctors are still human and they're practicing and they may not know what's right. So my biggest thing that I would tell another parent is always go with your gut and go with what your child says because it's so important, especially in this kind of situation because you can't go back if you have surgery when they're little. You can't go back if you start them on hormones. It's going to mess up everything for them if they really don't fit into that section. So it's important to really have that communication with your child and your spouse and be strong and stand up for them and their rights. One thing people don't realize is that intersex conditions are as common as having red hair, which is pretty common. That's a pretty big part of the population that has that. So we all know intersex people. Unfortunately, intersex people are forced to live in secrecy because it's not okay to be intersexed in our society. I hope that I can help change that for my daughter because I don't want her growing up hiding who she is just to fit in. I don't think there's anything truly embarrassing or bad about it in any way, shape, or form. In the school system right now, we're going through a lot of issues like bathroom bills and things like that that could dramatically affect being an intersex person. They're meant to block anybody who doesn't fit along one line of the gender or the other. But the reality is that when we go to the bathroom, who's looking in the stalls? Are we really that interested in whose sex organs look like what? I don't even understand it myself. I know that because I have an older child that also has an intersex condition. He was beat with a crowbar for going to the bathroom. I call him a him because I grew up that way, but he really identifies more as female. He was beaten in the head with a crowbar for going to the wrong bathroom. This is a serious thing. If we don't change the way we look at intersex and transsexuals and gender in and of itself, it's going to become more and more dangerous because people are getting hurt every day from this. So that's terrifying, and it's not for a good reason. We don't pull down our pants to greet each other. We shake hands and we take each other on what we see. So why ostracate people just because they were born a certain way?